Hi, in this video we'll cover something called mesh. Mesh got two way. The first way, or the first approach, they call it the general approach, and the second one is called format approach. Today in this video we'll cover mesh in the general approach. So this is example how to cover this diagram. So it's contain E1, the first loop. This is a loop 1, this is loop 2, let's say. So it's loop, it's from this point to cover all this, and it's again reach this point. So first loop we got E1, R1 equal 6 ohm, R2 equal 12 ohm, E2 equal 10 volts, R4 equal 12 ohm. Okay, in loop 2, this is also loop 2. You start from here and you end from here. So this area from this point to this one is common between loop 1 and loop 2. So let's say for loop 2 we'll start from this point. R4 equal 12 ohm, E2 equal 10 volts, E3 equal 12 volts, R4 equal 12 ohm, R6 equal 20 ohm, R4 equals 6 volt. Okay, so there is like few things you have to keep it in your mind when you are solving mesh. Mesh depend mostly in KVL. What's KVL? We got the videos about KVL, and again we will cover the KVL in mesh today also. But you want to make sure that you are 100% okay, you can see my videos in KVL. So first, it's depend on KVL, like we mentioned before. Second, I1 in loop I1 take positive. So whenever you see I1 here, when you are doing, there's two parts in this diagram. So you will do for loop 1 and you will do for loop 2. Whenever you are solving for loop 1, I1 always positive, and I2, see this one, I2 will be in negative. And it's reverse here. So let's read it quickly. I2 in loop I2 will take positive 2. I2 in loop positive I1 will take negative. I1 in loop belong to I2 will be in negative. Okay, and if finally if you solve it and you see like I1 equal minus, let's say 3 ohm for example, when you see minus, it means that it's opposite what you are assumed. Okay, so let's cover loop 1. Loop 1 we will apply KVL. So so this E1 minus VR1 minus VR2 minus E2 minus VR3 equals 0. Why E1 in positive while E2 in negative? Because we are going always clockwise. If the battery is the same to the clockwise direction, it will be positive. While if it's reverse, it's counterclockwise like this E, it will be in negative. That's why E2 in negative. All this will equal 0, and this is what you call the KVL. Now E1 is equal to 20 volt, VR1 minus VR1 equal to I1. You see, from here to here there is only I1, while here you got I1 and I2. For here you got I2 only. Okay, so this is the common parts again. So let's go again. So we got I1 R1, this is I1 R1, the voltage for VR1. For VR2 I1 R1, I1 multiplied by R1, and for E2 it's minus, like we mentioned, because it's counterclockwise. And for R4 in the common area, see, it will be VR4, we will break it to minus R4 multiplied by I1 minus I2. You see, this is applying this two things. So because we are in loop 1, I1 in negative, positive, while I2 in negative. All this again equal to 0. We try to push the numbers in one direction, and I1, I2 in the other direction. So we got this equation: 30 I1 minus 12 I2 equal 10. So this is for loop 1. Now for loop 2. For loop 2, we got E2. So if we start from here, we got E2, or from, let's say from here, E2 in positive because it's clockwise, E3 in also in so E3, or you can just go to VR4, VR4 because it's consuming electricity, so it will be in minus, I3 in positive because it's clockwise, VR5 be in negative, VR6 will be negative. It's still all the R's is consuming electricity, so we will put in minus. Now E4 we will put in positive. Why? Because it's clockwise. The direction of the batteries is the same for the clockwise. So all this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal to 0. Now we'll move E1, E3, E4, E2, E2, E3, E4, 10 plus 12 plus 6, 12, 10, 6, minus this VR4. VR4, it will be R4 multiplied by I1 minus I2. R4, the resistance is 12, so minus 12 multiplied by I1, I2, see I2 in positive, minus I1, because I1 in the second loop now, so I1 take negative. All this between parentheses multiplied by minus 12. Now VR5 equal minus I2 multiplied by 12. I2 multiplied by 12. And also I6 is the same. I2 minus I2 multiplied by 20. Minus I2 multiplied by 20. So I2 is covering all this area, while I1 just go through R4. Okay, so we got this equation too. Now minus 12 I1 plus 44 I2 equal 28. This is the second equation. For this second equation belong to R2, loop 2. First equation belong to loop 1. Okay, now we got 6 numbers. From here we got 3, and from here we got 3. Now we use a matrix because there is 2 unknown, I1 and I2 unknown, and we got their numbers too. So we'll use matrices. So in I1 it will be equal, and instead of, now we are trying to find I1, so instead of having 30 and 12, we will use the numbers which is out. So 30, we will move 30 and put 10, and move minus 12, put 28. So we'll got something like this, and we will use those number too. See, minus 12, minus 40, minus 12, minus 40. This is minus 12 for I2 and for 44 for I2. Now all this divided by, you see, 30 here we'll take normally because now we are going to down. So 30 and minus 12, we'll take them. We'll take minus 12 and 40. See the 40 here, and minus 12 for this. Now 10 will multiply by 44 minus 28 multiplied by minus 12. So we'll got this one. 10 multiplied by 44, we got this number, 440, minus, we got also here minus 12 multiplied by 28. So this minus should be an addition. It will be an plus 336. And this number also the same, 33 or 30 multiplied by 44. We got this one, 1320, minus, then minus 12 multiplied by minus 12, it will be 144. So this minus, because it's not because of the multiplication between the two here, 12 minus 12 minus 12, but it's should be there because of the matrices. If you want to understand matrices more, there is a lot of example on the YouTube. Now for I2 it's the same. Instead of that we will keep I1, the 30 for I1, and minus 12 for the I1 in the second equation, but we will use 10 for the I2 here. So instead of using minus 12, and we will use 28 for instead of 44. So same things here, but if you see 10 in the second one here, 10 and 20, and 10 and 20 in the first one, because here we will find I2, here you want to find I1. So this number is the same, stay the same down, and this is divided. So now 28 multiplied by 30, we'll get 840, minus 12 multiplied by 10, which is minus 120, but there is minus, so it will be plus. Whatever the number here, it will be in ampere. Then you or you will divide this one to this number, which is the same as this number, and it's the same as this number. So it will be something in current. And the example of using this one, maybe he will ask you what's the VR1. So VR1 from it's in loop 1. So VR1 here, VR1 is I1 multiplied by R1. So when you get I1 from here, you will multiply it by 6, then you will get the VR1 in voltage. Okay, and why we use mesh? Again, we use mesh when you cannot use the series or parallel or series parallel. In this case you can use the mesh. So you look to the diagram and you decided that. Have a good time, and if anything you can mention in the comments down.